I've won and lost against the best. This old road's been a hell of a test. But I'm still driving, I ain't slowing down. There's rules I'd love to break and bend, mistakes I've made again and again. But I tell you this, my friends, I'm still around. I hit it hard, man, so far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man, till it's gone, man.
Hello again, friends and family. Average Goats here, Season 1, Episode 1. I am Pappy, welcome you back. We got some real positive feedback on the pilot episode, so we thought we'd try to give this a regular go. I am here with the Hanger Brothers again, Joel and Michael. How are we doing this week?
Great, Pappy. Thanks. How about yourself?
Ready to talk about golf, man.
Yeah, it was a great weekend of watching golf here, as it was the weather's breaking where we're at for sure, but this weekend was a good weekend to stay in and watch, and we had plenty to watch. Like we talked about last week, we had the World Golf Championship, and we had the Puerto Rico Open. The seniors were playing. Women's golf was back with Annika Sorensen. It was a very exciting week, so why don't we just dive right into it? And we're going to go with the big boys, as I call them. They were the Workday World Golf Championship down at Concession. We talked last week a lot about, I thought the story of the week, and you guys were kind of thinking it too, was going to be the golf course. It had never really been seen, and I thought the course looked fantastic. One of the things that kind of made me scratch my head was I heard it Thursday morning or Friday morning, and it was some grumbling actually from the membership at Concession. And we had talked about this the previous week about the PGA Tour. They kind of always set it up for the guys that look the best and shoot the lowest scores, and the PGA Tour did it again. The membership is usually putting those greens at a 14. Wow. And the PGA Tour stepped them back for the pros, and they were consistently at a 12. They rolled great and everything like that, but on those greens specifically, all the undulations, all the different platforms and all that, an extra 2 feet. What do you guys think we would have saw? Some of those putts and chip shots, the way they were rolling out, and they would snap out of nowhere. It looked like it was flat, and then all of a sudden it starts peeling right or peeling left. What could 2 more foot of roll meant on that stump meter, and what we would have saw on TV?
I think you would have had a lot of more 3 and 4 putts, to be honest.
Yeah, the hold putts, I think we would have seen a lot less hold putts, from outside, 6, 7 feet, just those snappers. And chipping would have been interesting to see because you get so much more roll. I feel like they could probably adjust to the putting a little bit faster as they go through the round than the chipping. I think that would have been really difficult, would have definitely impacted the scoring.
Yeah, you bring up the chipping. I remember on Sunday, it was the 8th hole. It was that back, left finish. 2 guys were chipping, and they just ran out, and they went off the green, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're messed up in the head. You're a few, dollars short. But I like watching the pros actually being challenged and struggling like that. Plus, too, where it's entering the hazard, it makes their options a little bit limited of how they're going to then take their penalty and their drop and get it back into the field of play. So it was very interesting. What were your final thoughts kind of on just the golf course before we start talking about the players and how the tournament filled out? But I hope they go back. I would love to maybe see a PGA Championship here in a May where they could really firm up Bermuda grass down there. But I would like it to go back, and I would like it to be tougher.
Yeah, I think they should definitely go back. It was great to see the golf course for the first time. I thought, Thursday even some of the guys that you're normally seeing score really well. DJ didn't score very well. So, they're getting a look at this for only a handful of times. And it was really a test, some of the water into play on a lot of things, the bunkers in certain spots. It was great.
Well, Brooks said he didn't see the back 9 or front 9 until Thursday.
Yeah, played 9 holes.
Shocker.
That was it.
Yeah,
played 9 holes. That was
cool,
it.
Brooksy. Yeah,
shot 67
shocker.
or something like that first round. Yeah, but it played a lot easier on Saturday. It seemed like they
might have
went
softened
a little
bit,
easier on Saturday, and then Sunday it kind of came back a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, you talked about, maybe a PGA there in May. So this was played, first weekend in March, last couple of days of February. What, from a superintendent setting the golf course up in such a short period of time, what goes into that, versus having it in May?
Well, the whole idea of this tournament, what was so tough about it is, like we talked last week, they only had 46 some days to get ready for something like that. So to get ready for a PGA event, but then again a World Golf Championship in that amount of time, to me, is unfathomable. It's unreal what goes into one of these tournaments. So I'm going to get into a little bit more of what's going into the tournament for the upcoming event this week. The Arnold Palmer, we'll get into that later. I got some really good tidbits, what the GCSA and the staff down there is doing, and I think it'll help bring into picture and answer your question better.
Okay.
Because I've been thinking about it all weekend. I don't know how they did it down there. I'm beyond impressed.
Yeah.
It would be great if someone could get that guy down and interview him and talk to him what all went into that. Maybe they had a heads up. I don't know because of the whole pandemic. Maybe they had more of it, but from the announcement to putting the tee in the ground, they had 46 days, and I just think it was fantastic.
Yeah, and the weather was cooler than normal this year down there at that area.
Yeah, and you had a average goats moment to go over with Victor Hovland on hole 9 on Thursday.
Yeah, just the golf course. Joel and I were sitting here watching The Office. I thought it was quite entertaining. On his finishing hole happened to be hole 9 on Friday, when he took that quadruple bogey with a one putt. Most of us would be walking up there grinning with a one putt quad, but he hit a great drive and then caught an absolute steamer out of that fairway bunker. Hit a rocket over into the palmettos. From there, he bladed it into the bunker on the other side of the green, back over, and chip up didn't work after he took that drop. Had made about a 10-footer, I think, to catch that one. So
yeah.
Speaking of average goats, what about Matt Wolf? What happened to him on Thursday? We can't even use him for average goat of the week because he didn't make it. He only played, and it was he had everything. He had a birdie, a par, a bogey, a double, a triple, a quad. It was insane.
Didn't he finish with 3 or 4 birdies in a row?
I think 2.
he on the front side he went birdie to shoot 44. So
Yeah.
44
Yeah.
to get it under bogey golf.
He finished with what, 83 or 84?
I think it was an 83. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like spell check. It was supposed to say Pappy on the scorecard and came out Matt Wolf.
There was a lot of boxes.
It was unreal. But getting back to it, the winner was Morikawa. He finished up at 18 under. It was very exciting. He had the 2-shot lead to start the day, and Horschel, within a matter of minutes, it seemed like, was tied with him. It was back and forth in the front 9. It was very entertaining. With the win, he walks away with $1.82 million. That's not a bad little big surfboard-sized check to get.
No, considering Brandon Grace went home with like $560,000 from the Puerto Rico Open.
Right.
Yeah, no, nice little paycheck. I actually looked at that. Bumps his total up to $7.6 million career golf earnings in I think 41 events, 36 cuts made. So he's averaging about $187,000 a tournament. That's not too shabby, huh?
Not bad for 4 days of work.
Yeah,
Right?
and at his age,
That's like Kistner money.
yeah, at his age. So
Well, his age, it's funny you bring that up because they've been talking too about how he's the youngest to win
Under 25,
a major and a World Golf Championship, and it's him and Tiger, I
Tiger,
believe.
yeah.
So, yeah, I consider myself a pretty avid golf fan. I don't really know that much about this young man at all.
No, but there was an even more telling statistic about Tiger and him. He's won 4 tournaments and he's won a major and a WGC. But Tiger has also, before 25, had won 24 times on tour,
that's not too bad, huh?
compared to 4 times by Morikawa.
Wow.
That number just kind of blew my mind.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't hear that one.
Yes, I saw that this morning and I was like,
So maybe we just stop the comparisons for a while?
Yeah.
yes,
Maybe he just stops right there with these 2 tournaments.
yeah.
But no, and obviously he's pretty much planted his flag on being on the Ryder Cup team this year. He looks pretty solid. He looks like a for sure pick if he doesn't make it on his own somehow. But it looks like he'll be up there at Whistling Straits later this year. In second place, we were talking. Billy Horschel put up a good fight. He was looking good. He had his little Sharpie TW on the side of his hat for Tiger Woods. It's good to see him back. He usually, I think he's playing this week at the Arnold Palmer. I'm pretty sure. Next person I want to talk about that was tied for second was Brooks Koepka. Mr. I only played 9 holes to warm up and didn't see the other 9, but he ties for second. So in his last couple starts, at the Genesis he was 38th. At the Waste Management he got the win. Before that he had 3 missed cuts. Is Brooks Koepka back? Because I know they were talking about it a lot on the coverage about his neck and all that, but Do you guys feel that Brooks is back and he's getting ready to make one of those runs where he's just top 5, top 10, winning the big tournaments? Do you think Brooks is all the way back now?
He seems to be healthy, which is good, and maybe even not only healthy, but the back and forth last year between him and DJ, maybe a little bit more focused too when it comes to some of these tournaments where he's like, all right, I'm in it, as opposed to just showing up, having a dip and getting out of here. So I think he's definitely in it.
Yeah, but on Saturday, most of the first 6 holes of the round, he was kinking his neck, trying to get it loose, and his round wasn't going too well Saturday, and then he kind of turned it on there the last 12 holes, but the first 6, he was just blaming his poor play on his. I mean, it's like the rest of us when nothing's going right, we're blaming it on my wrist or elbow or shoulder or back.
No,
typically,
you're saying, why did he put the pin there?
Yeah.
Why were the tee markers over there? That's what you're saying.
I love tough courses.
Yeah. If average goats are kinking their necks, we got a lot of problems, right?
Yeah, it was because happy hour on Friday night went a little too long, and I got sent to the couch with the wife.
Yeah, I slept in the same position all night. Right? My neck hurts.
Yeah. The tile in the bathroom was a little not comfortable.
Hanging out on the porcelain.
But I think it's very. I think this is a good sign for Brooks. I look for him to hopefully compete at the Masters. I think that would be great if he can get another major, get him one step closer to the career major, the career Grand Slam, excuse me. I think also, too, Dustin's been on a hot streak. If Brooks can keep going, I like that rivalry a lot, and someday maybe we'll hear the true story of what happened to them in a team room. They were like best buds. They trained together, and then all of a sudden it kind of goes ice cold. I would love to know some of the dirt on that. I bet you it's a really good story. Another player that finished second with those other guys was Victor Hovland. And we mentioned him earlier. Young guy. He's coming on strong. He is on fire. He's on the cover of Golf Digest, as Michael just threw up there. And when I think of Victor Hovland, and this is just me, I'm always reminded of him at the Masters. It's all about the Masters and Ryder Cup with me, guys, if you haven't figured this out. But he was the low am in 2019 when Tiger got the jacket. And I just remember watching that, and it was like, you're watching this big historic moment. Tiger comes back, wins his 5th, the rain thing, so it was moved up earlier, right? So you had to get up earlier that day, and then this young kid comes in, and I'm sorry, but his face, he looked high. He looked like he was on a different planet. And he's walking from the amateur area where they stay down to Butler Cabin with Jim Nance and the chairman of Augusta National and Tiger Woods, and he's on CBS, and his eyes are like stoned. And what I've learned the last couple of years, that's either his look or the guy's stoned 24/7.
Yeah, he always seems that way to me. His eyes always look glassed over. He's always got that big cheesy grin on his face, which is cool. I think that keeps him calm when he's got shit going sideways. But you're right, he always looks that way.
And Hovland he made that, what was that, a triple or a quad on Friday on that night?
Quad.
And he still shot 67, I believe.
He was 3 under.
Yeah, or 69 then.
Yeah.
And he finished 4 shots back. So.
Yeah, but no, I like Victor.
3 shots back.
I like Victor.
Yeah.
And in that Butler Cabin, he just, that cheesy grin with those glass eyes, it was something.
Yeah. So last year at this time, he was at the Puerto Rico Open, wins it.
Winner.
He's on a roll. Now he's at the World Golf Championship, didn't have to go to the Puerto Rico Open. I would put him kind of on a Masters watch. Low am, like I said, so he's had some success there. He's been at the course. He's starting to get hot. What do you guys think about him at the Masters and him just going forward with his game?
I think he plays well the first quarter of the year. I think January, February, March, he plays really well. And then he kind of falls off in the summertime, and then he kind of comes back around towards the end of the season.
I'm a Victor fan. I like the way he plays golf. Even making that quad, he was took it in stride. I actually felt like he kind of rushed what would that have been, the 3rd or 4th shot there.
All of them he rushed.
The one out of the Palmettos, I don't think he rushed, but the one out of the bunker where it was up against the back and he kind of bladed it, he just seemed to get in there quick and hit it over the green. But I really like Victor. I think he is definitely somebody to be watching out for at the Masters. And this week at the Arnold Palmer, FanDuel's got him at second behind Rory, so he's at like plus 1,200 to get the W. So I think that's pretty telling too, that FanDuel sees that he's playing well also,
Right. No, I would definitely agree with that. So final thought on Victor Hovland, and I'd like your guys' take on this. So is it his natural look, or does someone need to tell him it's puff, puff, give, not puff, 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 puff,
Keep
puff?
selfish.
Yeah, he's very selfish when it comes to that, for sure.
So he's got the pen, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me, right? Just never leaves his hand.
For sure. Did you guys come up with a average GOAT for the Workday World Golf Championship? I said earlier mine would be Mr. Matthew Wolf. It was a kaleidoscope of scores on that scorecard, and then he does the WD and kind of bows out and disappears from Friday and the rest of the weekend. Did you guys have anybody else that you kind of want to put on that, or are we kind of thinking these are the top players in the world and maybe not too many other average GOAT nominees from there?
I didn't have anybody specific for the whole tournament. It just the one hole with Vahavlin, even though he tied for second, that he made a quad, which is average GOAT shit. If you watch that go down, those shots that he's hitting, when he hit the steamer out of the fairway.
Just going back and forth across the green.
When he hit the steamer out of the
what he kept doing.
When he hit the steamer out of the fairway bunker, that just goes like a rocket over the green.
Been
It's just
there.
like we've all been there. We've all
Right.
seen it,
And you could tell he was just grinning and like, gosh darn it, why'd I do this?
Yeah, and then when he hit the ball out of the palmettos, he's sitting there taking like a real short practice swing. He's like, all right, just try to get this club on the ball.
The next thing you know,
and
he's
then
hitting
he
it.
takes like a full swing. He got the club all the way up here in full swing, and then it comes out like a rocket. So,
Yeah, for sure. It was a good tournament, and like I said before, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I do hope they go back to that club. I think it leads for exciting. Maybe we'll get a Ryder Cup there.
that wouldn't be too bad.
Later down the road. It would be a good venue, I think.
I like palmettos right off the fairways.
Yeah.
It just seems tighter.
Kinds of free.
Imagine if fans were there.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. Logistically, I don't know if they would have been able to
Yeah.
have too many fans there, because where would their seating have been?
Exactly.
Where would they have been able to move the traffic of the patrons walking around the course to see the whole hole? It would have been tough logistically to set that up for sure. And then final thought on this tournament too, kind of going along with the Masters watch for upcoming in a couple months here. I thought Louis Oosthuizen was good to see him. He T6. He always plays good at the Masters. Hey, don't nod your head. He's got that
I like his
albatross
swing.
on
I
number
like
2
his
on
swing.
Sunday that one year.
Yeah, no, that smooth swing, it always shows up at Augusta, doesn't it?
It is very. I would take it.
Oh,
I'll take it right now. Right.
Well, I guess that's what happens when you bring your own mattress everywhere, right? They say he literally brings his own mattress to every single tournament when he travels because he's got a bad back.
Really?
Yeah.
So how do you get that on the plane?
I don't know how the logistics work
Well,
or
bed in a
how that
box.
thing gets
Bed in
around.
a box, right?
But
That's what the thing is.
supposedly he brings his mattress with him.
Really?
Yeah. Just like I've also heard something similar to that, where Tiger, when they go and they rent the houses right around the golf course,
Brings his own
furniture. They refurnish the house with his own stuff for that week of the tournament. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what I've heard.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any peculiar habits like that?
As long as the beer's cold and it's early, that's all that matters.
Also, a couple other names out there that were looking good and they're either returning to top form or just keeping it there. Is Rory McIlroy looked good at a T6, Webb Simpson, and we talked a little bit last week about everyone's favorite person to hate, Patrick Reed. He looked pretty good with the -11. So all in all, it was a great tournament. And
I think I mentioned Kevin Na last week too. I think he was in there
Nah,
at
I don't remember that, nah.
T11. So
not gonna talk about him. Okay, so switching gears. If you weren't there, the players were over at the Puerto Rico Open, and Grace won that one at -19. And as you guys stated before, walked away with a check of $540,000. What were your guys' thoughts about that tournament and how everything played out?
I actually didn't catch too much of the Puerto Rico birthday weekend for us.
Can I
at
stop
home,
you
but-
real quick? I'm sorry. You know what we forgot to talk about? We did forget to talk about your pick for the World Golf Championship. Who did you pick for your one pick a week, and we were going to keep track of the money that they won?
Yeah. I thought we were just going to bypass that.
No. Who'd you pick again? I forget.
Who did I pick?
He doesn't even remember.
Schaffler,
yeah,
yeah,
Xander.
55.
If he would have
Xander.
picked Scheffler played well.
Yeah,
Maybe that's who I said. I didn't say
It
his
would-
first name. I think I said
If you would have
mix it up.
If you would have picked Nah, like your gut told you, you'd be.
I'd be all right,
sitting
wouldn't
down
I?
on the leaderboard, but
Yeah.
not to brag, you took a third in the World Golf Championship. And second place, it was Mr. Joel. He had Neiman at 82.5, and
I like how you're like point,
Oh yeah.
making it a point to point this out.
Oh yeah, and me, Pappy, book me to Vegas so I can do all your picks for you. Hatton with the 100,000. Don't worry, I'll bring up the bad too. Don't worry about that. But Puerto Rico Open, Brandon Grace, he won. Like we said, I watched a little bit of it. Something disappointed me. I talked to him about him last week. I was looking forward for him to step up. Poulter, woof, -7.
Yeah.
He makes the cut and everything like that, but he just does not look like he's hitting on all cylinders. I believe he's in the field, though, with the Arnold Palmer, so we'll see if maybe now he's over in America consistently getting ready for the big part of the season and the schedule that he's going to be playing. If maybe a couple weeks in a row he'll start to fall back into form, or maybe.
There's quite a few named golfers between that 100 and 200 mark in the money list, FedEx Cup points. Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Ian Poulter.
Ricky Fowler.
So
At least he's making cuts nowadays, right?
I mean, Jordan Spieth might be in the top 100 finally. He might be actually at number 99.
No way, it'd have to be more than that. He was hot there for the whole month of January. February, he was good.
Yeah.
He's coming back this week.
He's found it, has he? A little bit?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Poulter, I think it pick up his game a little bit after that Puerto Rico, just the Masters. I think he's a guy that gets really psyched for that tournament, gets prepped really well. So he's always kind of been up there at the Masters. So I think he'll bounce back.
Well, I hope so, because he brings a lot of character to the game for sure,
Yeah.
and his outfits are always flashy.
That's flashy,
Poulter?
sure.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the spat between him and Henrik Stenson?
they do the prank wars.
Yeah, that's
very
that's
funny.
hilarious.
It is a good follow for sure, for sure. Some of the names we talked about though going into the Puerto Rico Open was I made a couple jokes about Tommy Gainey.
He played well.
He got a $6,000 check,
Yes.
$6,150 with his even par finish for the week. Scott Brown, we were talking about him. He was the trivia thing about how much money he's won there. Add another $7,000 to his total. He finished -4 in T53. And funny note, there, Joel, you made a joke about Ted Potter Jr. when you were reading through the names.
He was
of
on the
who's.
leaderboard there.
Yeah,
Top of the leaderboard.
He finished 7th and
Yes.
walks away with 91,000. So who's laughing now, Mr. Joel?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
And Jordan Spieth is actually ranked 59th. I knew there was a 9 in there.
Niner coming from walkie-talkie.
He's right ahead.
99, 59.
Niner
There's
in
not a
there?
big difference.
He's
yeah.
right ahead of Harry Hicks.
Yeah. Okay. Good tidbit. But average GOAT for me was, we were talking earlier before we started broadcasting today, Hunter Mahan. We talked about him last week. We thought he had good showing earlier in the year. He was maybe back, could take that step forward. Misses the cut. He's home. Not getting a haircut. He should. Maybe that's
Probably
why.
not getting any more sponsors exemptions either.
No, you don't think so? Think he wore out his welcome with some of them?
Yeah. What else would he get invited to the rest of the season?
I don't know. I don't know what's
If
going
you're
on with his game.
if you're outside the top 150, basically anything outside of that, you got to get an exemption.
Well, maybe he'll go Corn Ferry, build his way back up, or he could Monday qualify. But sponsors exemptions, trying to figure out. I don't think there's a Sundog Sunglasses tournament coming up that he'll get into.
Those were hot for a while.
Yeah. Right until, like we talked about last week, the flub chip, and then everybody grabbed that display case off their shelf and put it in the back storage closet.
Right until
Is Hunter got some psyche issues, you think, or it's purely mechanics and golf that just isn't getting the job done, or a combination?
purely average goat stuff, all the things going through your head. I can't putt, I can't chip, I'm chunking everything, I'm blading everything.
Yeah. I mean, Lucas Glover was a guy that fell off the map for a little while, but he's bounced back and, plays decent golf. Hunter Mahan is just like, wolf, like you said.
Yeah. Woof. Exactly. Well, there goes the Hunter Mahan sponsorship now. We're just knocking them off the board. Don't worry, folks. This show will always be fun, and we'll never monetize it because we just rip everyone, I guess, now. That's our new thing.
Didn't I say last week, don't there was a caveat. We're making fun of everybody on this show.
Yeah. Thicken up your skin, folks. But I thought one of the underrated stories of the weekend and the week of golf was the Annika Sorensen, real quick, for the ladies. Korda won again. That was great and everything. I'm not trying to discount that. And it was at Lake Nona, and that's another club that's kind of famous. It's good to see that on TV, too. Fun. But the story of Annika Sorensen, walking away from the game, starting a family, great, awesome stuff. And for her to come back in front of her kids at her home course where she's a member, not only to play in the event and draw a bunch of interest, but to make the cut.
Barely.
And did you guys follow that whole story about
Yes.
the ruling with her?
Yeah.
I did not.
Watched it all.
The ball goes underneath the fence, and it's a part of a fence that they can open up. It swings open.
She could have opened it and played it.
She asked for a ruling. The rules official says no, and so she takes a penalty. She takes a drop. She plays it, and then
Quad. She made a triple. She made a triple.
yeah. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't remember that part, but they got to come back to her. The rules officials got to come and apologize and say, "I'm sorry, I messed that up." And the LPGA comes over and apologizes to her. She ends up gutting it out on
real
Friday,
professional.
makes the cut, and it's just a tremendous story. I don't care where she finished in the field. She makes the cut, and it's just a great story. And I thought it was a fantastic comeback for her.
It was a great story. First time playing on an LPGA event in 13 years. Saturday's round was a little bit disappointing. I think she shot like 79, but I would have liked to see her play better over the weekend.
I'll take a 79 this time of the year. Is she planning to play in some more events, or this was just a home event?
Yeah, the home event, but she said she's going to play in the U.S. Senior Women's Open.
Because she's never won one.
And the reason I bring this story up, and I'm big on it, is I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a big women's golf fan. I'm not going to try to portray that either, that I'm watching LPGA all the time. The bigger story here, though, is why I personally just can't get enough of this game that we all love. And you can play it at any age. You can play it with your kids. You can play it when you're older. You're a senior. You can play in between. I don't know how many times you guys are probably in the same boat. I'm in my late 30s. You go on a vacation. You're by yourself. You get paired up with people. You meet great people. And I just think this story stood out to me probably for the first part of this golf season, how cool this sport is. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter anything. You can go out there, you can have fun, play and compete, and it is just great.
Yeah, it is, which is, I played many years ago, was a golf league member with a guy in a town that I was working in, didn't know anybody, and the guy was like 65. He'd just taken up the game for like 3 or 4 years prior to that. And I mean, he's beating 3-woods into the dirt, in the middle of the fairway. But he was loving the game, and you could just see it was a joy for him to play every single day. And we had a great time. So, yeah, I think at any point you could pick up a club and get after it.
Another story from the weekend of golf was there's the Tiger Woods update, surgeries, and maybe moving medical facilities, but I thought the story of Tiger this weekend was the red shirt, black pant combo in honor of him on Sunday. And just personally, I sent you guys a text. This is really cool. Every single person on tour should be doing this. And to see Phil Mickelson go and buy a shirt, red shirt, cool. But he couldn't show it, so he had to wear the black jacket over with the black pants. I mean, the respect from him, supposedly his biggest rival was awesome. Annika Sorensen wore the red and black. All the guys on tour wearing the red and black.
Well, Phil said he would never wear red and black on Sunday, just out of respect, is what he said. But he went out and bought I believe it ended up being an Adidas.
Yeah,
it had an A.
Adidas.
It had an A on it.
He said two things I thought I'd never do: wear red on Sunday and have to pay for a shirt or something like that. Yeah. Phil always dropping bombs.
But I would have liked to know the temperature of where they were playing, because he was wearing that sweater. That black sweater.
Yeah, they were in Tucson?
Okay, so it had to be at least in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got to cover it up, right? Yeah. That was the big deal with some of the guys. I followed the Max Homa on Twitter, getting his ass reamed because he wasn't going to wear the red and black. But, a guy like that following his sponsors and what he can, what he can't wear type of stuff. And even Morikawa, he wanted to wear red and black and was going to make an attempt, and they had a shipping snafu with red shirt or something.
Yeah, that story didn't sound, come on, go buy a shirt then like Phil did. Here's the big thing with me. I get it, and some people are like, I'm not doing that. Some people are always anti-group. I'm not going to do it with the group. I was on a golf trip one time. We're taking caddies. One guy's like, no, I'm riding in a cart. We're like, dude, it's Whistling Straits, and it's the Irish. Just take a caddy or carry your bag. Like, no, I'm in a cart at the Irish. Okay, great. You're 80 yards to the right now because that's where the cart path is, and it's cart path only. So you're still walking as much of us, and you're being anti-group. And sometimes I just don't get it, but and that's kind of the feel like Brooks Koepka. And here's where I'm going with this is Tiger Woods, yeah, he transcended golf. He did more for the game of golf. I'm sorry. All respect to the man who's having his tournament this week, and all respect to the champion of champion goats, Mr. Nicklaus. In my view, Tiger Woods did more for golf than any of them. And here's why. In 1995, when Tiger's an amateur, he goes professional late 96, right? Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You know, hello world, famous. 97 wins the Masters. And I did some research for you guys. I know you like these little tidbits. In 1995, okay, two tournaments in 1995 were the biggest payouts. They tied for the biggest amount paid out in 1995 to the winner. And it was the Players champ, Lee Janzen,
You want us to guess what the amounts were?
and the Tour champion, Billy Mayfair. They were the same amount. And it was the highest amount for the 1995 season. Put the Google machine down, Joel.
I've read some
What's the
stories
amount?
that Phil has compared what winnings were back in the day around that time frame. Probably less than what the Puerto Rico Open just paid for sure. 350, 450, somewhere in that ballpark.
Joel, what do you think?
I'm going to guess 250.
Those are great guesses. And it was funny. I thought you were going to do it. Puerto Rico, it's the same exact amount.
Same amount?
So the Puerto Rico Open winner wins $540, right? That's what we said earlier.
Yeah.
They each won, Lee Janzen, Billy Mayfair, in 1995 for winning the Players Championship and the Tour Championship, respectively, $540,000.
That seems like a lot of money back then, still.
But those were the players own those events. So it's their, the Players Championship is usually right up there, usually I think is the biggest purse. So when people don't think he changed it, when he got hurt the one time in Nike Golf doesn't make clubs anymore.
Right.
Because Tiger, wasn't playing regularly, and maybe some shoddy manufacturing. I had a covert. I won't get into that this week, but the swooshes of thumbs down, let's say.
I was a big Nike Iron guy.
Michael, check them off the sponsor possibility
Big
list.
Nike Iron guy.
I had a Sasquatch and an Ignite for a while.
They had like 2 driver years. That was it.
Just last thought. Am I way out of line here for thinking more people shouldn't have done it and just paid homage to the reason you're winning $1.8 million this week? A big reason is Tiger Woods, and the purse used to be $1 million for this tournament.
Well, no,
I
agree with you on the credit to Tiger. Colin Morikawa does not win $1.8 million without Tiger Woods in a single event. There's some guys that don't even have career earnings. Think about how long it takes you to get winning $6-7 grand at 1.8. But some of these young guys maybe didn't know what they couldn't do, and maybe it's just a piss poor excuse, right? But you think Phil gives a shit about going and putting an Adidas shirt on underneath? I'm going to Dick's, I'm getting my red shirt. Some of these guys may be a little bit nervous, I understand that.
Total goat move by Phil.
It is a goat move.
If he wouldn't have wore the sweater, that would have been even cooler, but he probably would have had some problems.
But yeah, I'm indifferent really.
Okay, so you say that. To me, big money, like whoever he's Callaway. Okay, that's fine. And whoever
or Misen and
whoever is clothing one day.
I know.
One day is going to he's on the senior tour, folks. It's not like it's mad TV ratings where your logo is being seen over and over and over again. Tell them, you know what, go wear a red shirt, don't wear the black jacket over it, and do an extra clinic for us at our big, foo-foo event in a couple months. Like, I just don't get it. Why more people couldn't partake in that day. I don't know why I don't even know why I'm letting it bother me.
So you were probably on Twitter chewing Homo's ass then because he said I couldn't do it.
I'm still trying to figure out Twitter. I don't understand it. I'm not kidding you. Yeah,
tweet.
Yeah, but I did update my MySpace account.
No, very nice.
Yeah.
ICQ or whatever that was.
You could couldn't you rate your followers or something on that channel?
No idea. Never had it. But all right, moving forward this week, looking forward, we have the Arnold Palmer Invitational, the API we're going to call it. That's what all the young kids are calling it. And
we had a tough tournament last year for this.
It was tough conditions. Defending champion is my guy from last week, Hatton.
One thing before we fully get into the Arnold Palmer here, we talked about the LPGA just briefly. I know you said you don't watch a whole lot of LPGA. I do flip it on the weekends, when it's in between coverage or whatever this is. So I see a lot of swings, and Nelly Corda's swing, her tempo is phenomenal. So if you're in the game trying to get a little bit better, it's okay to watch some of those swings. I would recommend it because they have great tempo. They hit the ball a lot further than most of us. It's great. So just wanted to throw that out there. But her tempo is something to watch.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And they do hit it further than me. I'm okay to admit
Yeah.
it. But getting back to Arnold Palmer this week, we have the defending champion Hatton, and making his first appearance in this event ever is Jordan Spieth, who Joel thinks is washed up and done, according to his remarks earlier.
He's ranked 59th.
not 159th, though.
I said 99. Not 159.
Okay. Just quick thoughts. Who you guys kind of liking this week coming into it? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'd like to make my pick right now.
You're going to say
He's gonna do
Tyrell
it.
Hatton.
He's going to do it right now.
I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to tell you other people to keep an eye on for your FanDuel accounts and everything and your gambling needs, but I'm calling it right now. Book it. Winner, 2021 Arnold Palmer Invitational, and the first called winner on Average Goats, Rory McIlroy.
Yeah,
big
he got
dog
that.
is coming
He
out.
got because he wanted to be the first guy to get Rory.
Yeah,
all morning.
I know.
All
I
morning.
have him
I've been
listed
thinking,
right here.
Rory is going to show up for this tournament.
You know, Mike, I'll tell you, I'll make you a deal, Mike. You finish last again on your picks. We'll let you pick first.
That's
next
okay
week.
because he wasn't going to be my final pick. I'm going Victor for my Arnold Palmer.
Victor Hovland.
Yeah, I'm going
okay.
Hovland.
I like it.
Damn it.
He's got that sense of me a
They're right up there at the top too. So
I'm going to go Kisner.
Kisner. Okay. I like that. Some other people to keep an eye on. Guy's been kind of hot is Billy Horschel. He always is playing good in Florida.
Kokrak's playing well.
Horschel really likes to play well in Florida, right? Hometown guy down there, so he always tries to give his best for those Florida events. And sometimes he doesn't keep his head in it. You know, he's like the rest of us, get a little head case on things and slamming his putter and stuff. So
I was surprised nobody picked Sam Saunders.
No, sorry.
did not.
Is he playing? Usually he gets to play.
Usually he's like the co-host, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's. I think they stopped the whole playing thing with him there for a while.
Not getting
Some
sponsored
other-
by those drinks.
That's all right. They suck. Henrik Stenson, he's making his first start in the USA, coming across the pond. 2021 start for him. He's dropped all the way down to the 83rd World Golf ranking, and I'd keep an eye on him, and I maybe put some. I think I'm going to actually put some money on him tonight. The swinging Swede, as I call him, he's got 5 top 10s in the last 8 events here at the Arnold Palmer. So
his 3-wood's about as good as my 3-wood.
Oh boy,
stop yourself.
he does have a rock solid 3-wood.
I told you this last week. I am not falling for this. I'm not going down the rabbit hole. You'll probably get me in the summer when the stress of taking care of a golf course gets to me, but not now, not today, not so fast, as they say. But any other guys that you want to kind of throw out there? I think Patrick Reed's kind of hot, and Justin Rose. I think it would be nice to see Justin Rose. He usually plays these tougher courses better.
I'd like to see Glover usually plays pretty well here too, and I'd like to see Fleetwood play well.
I'd like to see Tommy Fleetwood get back
Tommy's
there.
been struggling.
Yep.
Glover till it's the weekend and his wife gets a hold of him.
Man.
She's had a couple of sodas and starts wringing his neck, chasing with a club and shit. But Fleetwood would be good to see play well. He strikes the ball really well. This is a golf course that would set up well for him. I like those top guys. Rory, Victor, I think are the guys to watch.
I kind of like, too, Maverick McNeely. He had a big showing at Pebble Beach, and they did a bunch of stories on him, how he used to caddy for his dad in the Pro-Am, and he had that big finish. It'll be nice to see how he handles a tour event that is not Pebble Beach. So someone to keep an eye on. Also, Ricky Fowler. What is going on? Will the real Ricky Fowler please stand up and show up?
What does that even mean, Rick?
Yeah. And can you... We talked about this last week. He's not in the Masters, and I didn't believe you. So I've been looking all week like, he is not qualified for the Masters?
Which is crazy to think, isn't it?
It was. I thought Joel just threw one out there, and I was like, I'm not going to correct him.
not gonna
I'm
go
not going to
for it.
correct him, but all week it's been driving me nuts. It's unreal.
And he is married. He is married. I
he
didn't
is.
think he was married yet.
Yeah, he got married. So
Pole
let's
vaulter.
talk
Married
about
to
that
pole
for
vaulter.
just a moment.
The
Okay?
pole vaulter or his
No,
game?
Not neither, but
Okay.
kind of the pole vaulter. So Jordan Spieth got married how many years ago, and golf game kind of went by the wayside just for a brief moment.
Just like that.
Ricky Fowler has
And
got
just like that, Average Goats was canceled by all of our wives.
exactly.
It was a good run, guys.
Ricky
but,
Fowler gets married. Game goes by the wayside.
I'm
for
not
a
even
little
going to
bit.
make eye contact with you right now, Michael, with this camera.
I just think it's something to think about, right? Us average goats, we got to deal with it every day of our golf season of
All
the
those-
battle at home. Who can we play? Can we not play? you know. And
Mrs. Megan Papineau, there's no battle at home. You're a great supporting wife. I'm allowed to play golf as much as I want, as long as my chores are done. No.
Oh, crap.
Off the record, though, since the mic is turned off, I couldn't agree with you more. Michael Hanger, they sometimes put damper on the men's trips and everything. No, just kidding.
yeah, no, I have a great support at home too, but I'm just saying, I think that possibly has an impact on what their priorities are when they're showing up to play these golf events.
Yeah, there might be an adjustment period, too, like the whole traveling nonstop. If you're going to play 20, 26 tournaments a year, and your wife, and how you're going to travel, and you know, she's like, I'm at home taking care of everything. You're in Pebble Beach, and now you're going to Florida. Like,
We're going there?
no, I'm just.
Are we going there?
No, I'm just.
No, I would agree.
It's tough.
You know,
Yeah.
It's not a fun.
It's a different tough than what us average goats deal with. Our lifestyles are not easier either. It's just a different way of living, is all I'm trying to say.
for sure. Honeymoon phase at the beginning, right? They're, you know, still trying to get the job done, winning them over, all that schmooze and stuff. And then it's like, all right, honey, I got to go to work. They don't want to keep traveling all over the place, right? So I get it.
But all those spring break guys from that whole, you know, Ricky, Jordan, Smiley. Well, Smiley's, I mean, he's just tossed in there, right? But all those guys have struggled besides probably what, JT? Or did JT have a little 12-month?
No, I think JT's been pretty consistent, but he's also
But the rest of those
not
guys
married, I don't believe.
But the rest of those guys.
So you're saying JT's going to have a fall off when he gets married?
I don't know. We'll see.
potentially.
And no, I wasn't going there. And no, I'm not on the same. Michael's walking a plank by himself. Okay.
Yeah.
Pappy's in the middle of the boat holding on to the mast. I'm not going over to the
Maybe
board
we should
on that
shut
one.
this one off and start over, huh?
Speaking, though, of golfers and their wives, somebody that doesn't have to worry about that anymore is Jason Duffner. He is no longer married. A couple years ago, he lost, there was rumors that maybe his wife was with Tiger.
Yeah.
But I bring that up. He's my long shot this week. I think someone you haven't heard from in a while, someone struggling, Jason Duffner. I hope to see that name top 15 this weekend.
I like Duffner. What did he do?
Yeah, he would sat there like this at that school. He's
Duffing
Duffner.
up against the wall when he sat down after the one. A little different too about the Arnold Palmer Invitational. This is a higher caliber event, and the PGA Tour respects it as that. And if you win this event, you get a 3-year exemption on tour rather than the normal 2-year exemption. And the 72-hole record is held by Mr. Payne Stewart, my idol. In 1987, he shot 264 for the week. So a little bit of tip-in information.
Solid.
You guys want to quickly, you want me to hit up these superintendent facts for the week?
Yeah, let's hear him.
Okay, so the course setup's going to be 7,454 yards, 36 par for 72. Step meter right now is reading at a 12. Chris Flynn is the director of grounds, and we were talking earlier about what it took to get that golf championship at concession ready to go.
Yep.
And I said we'll circle the wagons back to this a little bit. And here we, just to kind of put it out there to us average goats, what goes into events like this. Arnold Palmer, Bay Hill Lodge, first class. They have everything they need, right? They renovated it in 2009. Arnold Palmer did the renovation himself. It originally was a Dick Wilson design. In 2009, Palmer goes in, does the greens, the bunkers, lengths in it. It went from a 71 to a 72. They're there every year. They want top-notch course conditions every day, and then this tournament, right? So he's the director of grounds. He has 3 assistant superintendents. He's got 1 equipment manager. He's got 1 horticulturalist. He has 45 other employees to take care of the grounds all the time. And for tournament prep, he's got an additional 20 tournament volunteers.
We get it, Pappy. We're working on it.
I'm just saying.
It's a lot of resources.
That is having a lot of weapons in your Swiss Army knife for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine just has a blade and that little saw thing, and a broken corkscrew from a beer bottle incident. I'm not going to get into
Toothpick's
here.
been lost for years.
Swiss Army knife.
For sure.
No, but that's a lot of resources, and I get what you're saying with them being able to get a golf course ready in any fashion, anytime they want to, with that kind of staffing. At concession, what do you think is? They've only been open 2006. What kind of resources do you think they have? And probably still, attracting membership, trying to get stability there with all of that.
I assume the PGA
Can't
comes
be.
in and helps out, though, too.
They do. They
they're
offer
going to get a
assistance,
check
absolutely.
and some
And,
assistance, but still, I bet it's not this.
I'll tell you
maybe
one
close.
thing. I'm just not bragging either because I'm GCSAA. But when there's an event, everybody in your area rallies, and if they can help, they
helps
help.
out.
Yeah, a couple years ago, I volunteered at the Senior U.S. Open at Notre Dame, and that's something we'll touch on this summer. We'll
Nice.
get back to when we get back to that time and all that went into a tournament like that. But like I said earlier, I can't even wrap my head about how they got ready for that tournament. So I'm not even gonna. I can't. It wouldn't do it justice of me trying to comment on something like that. But just so they redo it in 2009 with Mr. Palmer. In 2015, they decided to regrass with a new type of Bermuda. So resources, yes, there's some resources.
Yep.
For sure. But
Just a little tidbit of information too on course difficulty. Slope rating is obviously pretty big. Concession slope was 150.
it was like 150, 155, something like It's like
winged foot 140. Bay Hill 137.
so. Think if they had a U.S. Open type setup on the concession greens and course. If that was playing a true firm and fast, how crazy would it be? So, yeah, pretty crazy. But here we go. We're going to kind of
Transition.
Yeah, we'll transition. We're going to switch the channel to talking, normal, average goat stuff. And we kind of briefly talked about it last week, wedges and what we have in our bags personally, what the average guy and gal should be thinking about doing. And we're actually going to have a caller come in here online with us here in a little bit. Name's Austin. He's over at Club Champion. He's a great guy. He's going to answer some of our questions to give us some more ideas on what we should be doing in our bags. And hopefully you guys will be able to take this information and transition into your own game and in your own bags. Personally this year, I'm changing up a bag a little bit with the clubs. I don't know why, but I was doing a lot of stuff with I had hybrids and long irons, and I'm kind of weeding them out.
Was there more than 14 clubs in the bag?
No.
Wow.
No. Just 16. But anyways, and I was having trouble from the 115 to 125 range, right? So
Not quite a 52 or a 50, but not quite,
so
too much for a pitching.
Yeah,
ball.
last year I had a 60 and a 54. And then I went up to pitching, and we were talking about this off the air. Lofts of pitching wedges are getting different, and there's all sorts of ways you can go with your equipment now with different shaft options, yada, yada, yada. So I had the 654 this year. I'm doing a 58. I'm doing a 54. I'm doing a 50. And then my standard pitching wedge. I'm trying to get it to, 4 or 5 degrees difference in between rather than that big gap of a 54 to a 46 or a 44 range. And just trying to tighten up my scoring from 100 yards to that 120, 125 yards. What are you doing, Joel?
I'm switching up my lofts, or my lofts. I'm going from 52, 56, 60 to 50, 54, 58.
Wow,
this
we're doing the
season.
same thing.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this, I
Look at
swear.
these Twinkies. That's
So,
cute.
so I actually tried this about
You
5.
just call me fat.
I actually tried this about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a terrible idea.
Let's give it another go, right?
Why didn't it work out the last time?
I just could not get the distances
Dialed in?
dialed in.
Do you think you were playing less? I mean, was that the time you were getting married, according to Michael, where you
Could
weren't
have
able
been.
to play?
Could have been.
I've been married for almost 12 years this year. So.
Could have been.
No, I don't know why. I couldn't get the. I had somebody come in and tell me get different shafts and do this, and you should have this loft, and it just didn't work.
Okay.
I just couldn't. It almost felt too stiff, not enough feel coming through. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay.
I changed up last year, actually, from the year prior. I was where you guys are going to from the 50, 54, 60, and I went to that because that's what DJ was hitting there, or still does, I believe. But I'm not a 58 fan. Cannot hit 58 out of a greenside bunker. I'm a struggle bunker player anyway, so I'm hobbling, just bladed over if I got a 58 in my hand. So I actually carry a lot of wedges because I struggle with a 3-wood.
Five of them.
Struggle with a 3-wood. So I typically don't have a 3-wood in my bag, so it goes hybrid to driver. So that allows for a lot more wedges. So there's a little compression in there.
How
but,
many more wedges?
5. Pitching wedge.
Pitching
and then
wedge.
4 others.
Yeah, pitching wedge. Now, what do I
Yes.
got? I don't know. I'd have to look. Pitching wedge, 52.
50.
56 and 60. I might have a 50 or a 54 hiding in there. I don't know. Whatever makes the math work to 14, right?
Yeah.
So
There's 5 wedges for sure.
I like to hit certain shots with different ones, you know.
He basically has 5 clubs for a matter of 100.
That's where you score.
30
Isn't that where you score?
Well, I don't know. Is it working out for you? Are you scoring good?
I'm not too shabby,
Okay, the wedger's working over there.
except for
Well,
hungover in Florida. That doesn't help the scoring, but
let's get Lail on the phone and see what he has to say about what his recommendations are.
yeah, because we got some questions for him. I know Pappy's got a few questions, so let's get Austin dialed in here. Austin, on the side note, as we're calling him, is just an absolute dipping machine on the golf course. Talk about crutches last week. This guy definitely has one.
He was playing he was walking some 9 holes this morning.
An animal.
Hello, it's Austin Lail.
Austin Lail, this is Michael, Joel, and Pappy over at Average Goats. How's it going today?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
We're doing great.
Good,
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us here. So you quickly want to just tell us what your role is before we get into the wedge conversation and questions that we've got for you today.
Yeah, so I am a custom fitter and builder for Club Champion. Is pretty much the largest custom golf club shop in America with 84 locations nationwide. I think is what we have now. So what I do on a daily basis.
That's fantastic. I bet that's a lot of fun getting to see all these average swings.
Average swings and gets all this new equipment.
Yeah, testing everything
Yeah.
out, best of the best. So, anyway, what we're wanting to jump into today, Austin, is wedges, and I guess probably just start with a few questions, maybe, and then we'll kind of get some technicality specific type stuff. So, Pappy, you want to jump in with your questions?
Sure. Austin, thanks for joining us. Last year, we were just talking about I had a 60, a 54, and a pitching wedge in the bag. This year, I'm transitioning to a 58, 54, 50, and a pitching wedge to try to help my scoring from 100 yards to 120, 125 yards. And for an average golfer, what do you recommend for a setup? I understand everybody's a little bit different, but kind of like a rule of thumb, what should we be putting in our bag to help us score?
So one of the biggest things, especially talking about having that what I call a gap wedge in the bag. Most guys I see daily in fits maybe carry 2 wedges, which is definitely not the norm. If you look at the best players in the world, almost everybody these days are playing 4 wedges.
Any of them got 5?
Gap-
See, that's what I tell you guys.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for the last year I've done more 5 wedge setups with really strong lofted irons these days. The gap wedge tends to not fill a gap anymore. So to be honest, I've done a lot of 5 wedge setups this past year. But
Ahead of his time.
yeah, it's because when your pitching wedge is 40 degrees of loft, I mean and then you carry a 50 degree bladed wedge, you're going to have a gapping issue. It just is what it is. But the biggest thing I see, everybody comes in to the fitting bay, or I shouldn't say everybody, but most people come into the fitting bay and they don't even know how to use their wedges properly, number one, and then they end up with 20, 30-yard gapping distances. So when I start a wedge fitting, I always start a wedge fitting with a 9-iron. Have someone hit their 9-iron. Most average amateurs I see probably 6 to 11 yards max to their pitching wedge, and then you'll see a massive drop off. So one of the things I use a lot of iron gap wedges, hotter faces, thinner faces, perimeter weighting, all that kind of stuff. It's been tends to see the ball go further. So I use a lot of gap wedges as somebody's 11 iron, if you will, to just fill a gap. Then I get into mostly with a sand wedge, understanding how somebody uses it. Do they manipulate face? course they tend to play, where they're playing, all that kind of stuff comes into effect. So bounce, I use bounce to try to help an average amateur hit third or fourth groove on a face. If you strike the third or fourth groove on a wedge every single time, you're going to get very consistent launch, very consistent spin numbers. And that's what most people don't understand about bounce, is that there's no really right or wrong. It just kind of depends on how you deliver the golf club, what kind of bounce you should be using.
So, Austin, would you recommend like a bounce for somebody that's a digger, more bounce or less bounce?
Oh, absolutely. So if you're digging, if you're steep and you're digging, you want as much bounce as you possibly can get.
Joel instantly asked a question about his own golf game. I love it.
I'm writing this note down too.
We do have a question off of our Facebook feed, Austin, in regards to a wedge. Actually, it's a 60-degree wedge. Member at the club, Kelly Fricky, struggling with his 60-degree wedge. He tries to hit it high all the time, and he ends up actually blading it. What's he trying to do there? I know you don't have a visual of that, but can you explain what's happening there? Because I'm sure you've seen it many a times.
Yeah, so most people that I see, especially when they're trying to hit the lofted shot, they're trying to hoist the golf ball up in the air. So when I say that, they tend to flip at a bunch of loft and trying to get the ball up into the air. If you're using a 60-degree wedge, the ball is going to go up in the air. It is what it is. So what I'm usually seeing, somebody playing it standard in the middle of their stance, they're flipping, trying to add a bunch of loft. What that does is they tend to bottom out a little bit early, or they flip and they just hit the equator of the golf ball and send it across the green. So there's a lot of technique that goes into hitting, especially those higher lofted shots. But the main thing that I try to explain to people in the Bay is that you need to let the loft do the work. The loft is going to send it up into the air.
Yeah.
So kind of let the club do its thing.
Yeah, I mean, 60 degrees of loft is a lot. I mean, it's going to go up. I mean, it is what it is.
I think so too. Real quick, this exact person, I don't know if I'm thinking of the right person, but they might be in a rush to get back to their cart to shotgun a beer.
Yes.
Fireball's waiting on him, I
Fireball.
believe.
I don't blame them there.
No. Real quick on the bounce thing. You brought it up. I have a question about bounce in accordance with the type of course I play. Do I need, if I'm playing like a private club or a high-end public course where it's low mode, well-kept bent grass, do I need a different bounce if I'm playing the regular mom and pop or the public course that might have a bluegrass or a ryegrass fairway where the turf isn't as tight knit as a bent grass? Should I be maybe looking at different bounces?
I mean, average goats, we're going to go out and buy 2 or 3 sets of wedges.
So I would. This is another key thing. You can use grind separate to bounce. So say that you're playing, maybe a higher end kept golf course, tighter conditions. Manipulating the face, using for an instance, a Titleist Vokey D-grind wedge. That lob wedge has a bunch of bounce on it, but there's a lot of heel and toe release. So when you open that face up, the heel will sit lower into the ground. So, the key thing, get fit for whatever the proper bounce is for you, and then start to dabble with how do you actually use the wedge. If you're keeping the thing square faced every single time and you're digging, maybe you don't need a bunch of heel and toe relief, but you can use grind and bounce separate. I always say if somebody is playing a pretty average municipal bent grasses, Kentucky blues, things like that, I'd like to see a little bit more bounce on their wedge in general, but that should not affect, especially the kind of shots they're playing, if that makes sense.
No, that's great stuff. And when you brought up grind, the only thing grinding over here are the gears inside of my and Michael's head.
Yeah,
We are
for sure.
Technically mind blowing right now.
Typically not time to think about bounce and grind when I was standing over a golf ball. It's just
Right.
grab the club and swing it.
Thank you for
absolutely.
thought 998, 999 in my head this year when I'm over the ball.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hopefully you think about that when we play together.
Yeah, for sure.
Now Pappy's going to be in the maintenance barn grinding on his wedges.
Oh my God, you're gonna see sparks flying at 5 in the morning.
Then you'd be like a dentist in Florida that got in trouble.
Another question I had for you. I don't mean to step in front of you guys, but we got him on the phone. I need these answers. What are your thoughts? I'm reading a lot about rusty wedges. What are your thoughts? Do they really work better? Because when I was reading this article, all that could pop in my head was the movie Major League. When the old pitcher and he's talking to the young Rick Vaughn, he's like, "You put snot on the ball," and now, now we're talking about letting our wedges rust so we get better, zip on the ball or something.
Little
like that.
Bardol,
Yeah.
Crisco.
I put jalapeno up my nose. So does the rust really work on the wedge?
Now this is a true average goat question, I think.
This is
rust on a wedge.
Yeah.
It's a great average.
It's
scope
supposed to
question.
rain
So,
Thursday. Should I leave my wedges outside?
Yeah.
No, you gotta put the head covers on
Put in some
them,
white
then.
vinegar.
Yep.
Yeah, put in some white vinegar. Get extra spin. So look, I've hit.
Wait a minute. What's this? Wait, hold on. You're burying the
This is a
lead.
new
What's
trick.
the vinegar thing?
It activates.
Oh, you
strips it.
Put it in vinegar, strip the steel off of your off your wedge, and you'll start rusting
Is
anything.
this legal?
You can also use
Pappy's golf ball's gonna be
yeah.
orange this summer.
You can also
Oh my God. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Come to my garage.
Yeah.
You'll find a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
A bunch of vinegar?
you can also use
Bunch of
Coca-Cola.
experiments.
Does it work if I eat vinegar chips and wipe my hand on
Salt
the
and
golf
vinegars.
ball? Yeah. But no, seriously, the rust on the wedges.
Yeah.
What are you thinking
Yeah.
here?
All right, so rusty wedges. Look, for average amateur golfer, you're talking less than 200 RPMs of spin. So all the marketing in the world is gonna say, "Oh, rust your wedges, you get more spin around the green," things like that. You'll never notice. You'll never absolutely notice a rusty wedge versus your typical chromed wedge. Now,
I ordered some.
I'm pretty
here's a
certain not
good
to.
one.
This is Michael. I'm pretty certain not to cut you off, Austin. That a bladed wedge and a chunked wedge, the rust does not matter. That's just a guess. But
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely. People get way too involved with that. But here's another one for you to chew on. A rusty wedge will last longer than so if you take a Cleveland zip core wedge in chrome and you take a raw Cleveland wedge that rusts, you will get more life out of a rusty wedge. They're not plating the steel. It's
that's
not
a good
turning
tip for
into-
average goats on a budget.
So for your average goat on a budget, a guy that comes in doesn't care what it looks like, but wants to make sure he's not buying a new wedge every year or 2 years or whatever it is. A rusty wedge will last longer. Think if you think back to the Cobra Trusty Rusty or a Cleveland 588, you saw guys have those wedges
Years.
forever.
Yeah.
I think
the
it's
one-
official.
the
Matt
one
Reese
piece-
just bought his last set of wedges last year. If these things rust, he's got them forever.
Oh, we got to put in some Coke or vinegar. Get that finish off.
or strip it, or start putting everything in vinegar in your house, But so rusty wedges, and there's a feel standpoint to rusty wedges too, and things like that. People can dive into, when you don't plate a wedge, but the whole spin thing, leave that to the guys on tour who really can notice 200, 100 RPMs of spin.
I did order a set of raw wedges.
Oh boy,
My mind is officially blown right now.
mind blown.
I am. I'm going back to the drawing board.
You didn't think the rusty wedge was going to be
So if I'm
that deep, did you?
I know this is fascinating to me, and I thought I was a true golfer, but this is great stuff. I am thoroughly enjoying this. Quick question then. I always kind of thought if I'm an average golfer to rounds played to above average, where I play a lot more rounds, maybe almost every year, every 2 years, I should be switching up my wedges. What is the rule of thumb? I heard the thing about you can do the fingernail test, and you do the fingernail, and if the fingernail catches the groove, kind of like the old Abraham Lincoln penny in your tread on your tire. I don't know any of this stuff, if it works or not. What am I supposed to be doing for the average goat? If I'm getting rusty wedges and I'm getting 20 years out of them now, I'm so confused.
Oh, yeah. No, so my rule of thumb that I tell people when they ask me this question is roughly about 250 rounds. You should maybe think about changing your wedges. If you don't know how deep the grooves are and your fingernails change because you chewed on them after you made a quad, about 250 rounds is when I would start going, okay, maybe there's some performance loss there. So, if the average player gets 20 to 30 rounds in a year, you can do the math and come up with a good rule of thumb. Now, again, you playing a trusty rusty, you might get an extra 30 out of it. I don't know. But,
I'm buying wedges way too frequently.
Yeah, Michael's buying wedges every 25 rounds.
Yeah.
15.
25 rounds at 5 wedges a pop?
I don't play that many rounds of golf a year.
No. Last year was the most rounds I've played in a long time, and it was 60.
So, but what if I'm like a VJ Singh of average goats and I hit a lot of range balls?
Yeah.
They're going to wear out more quickly.
Are these limited flight rocks that you're hitting, just banging the glove?
I have no idea what you're talking about. No, these are brand new Pentas.
That's all.
If you are a big range rat, if you are a big range rat and you're hitting not on mats, we're talking about on an actual grass range with sand-filled divots and all that kind of stuff that's going to eat your wedge up a little bit, then I would probably cut about 50 rounds off of that. So usually it's, for the average player, it's just, maybe a year and a half off of what, off of that 250 round rule.
This kid bangs a lot of balls. How often is Sammy Carraher getting
wedges.
new wedges, Austin?
Well, now because I build his golf clubs, not as often, but you can ask his dad how many text messages I got. Are you sure Sam doesn't need new wedges? Are you sure? I'm like, you can buy whatever you want, buddy, but his wedges are completely fine. But for a player like Sam who's playing, at a high level that many, I'm probably changing his wedges every 2 years.
Yeah. I think Pappy's got one more question for you, Austin.
Just a quick one, Austin, if you don't mind. When you're out on the course and you're throwing a lip in, what is the flavor and what is what kind you doing?
Well, right now, what I got in,
I just lost $10. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, the boys know. I got. I'm tobacco-less now.
Good for you.
Nice.
You're on that Tennessee stuff.
Finding
probably some coffee or grape shit.
The grape stuff's okay.
Yeah,
Tastes like grape soda.
I'm not a fruit guy. I'm not a fruit guy. So I got
Winter
Cool
green
Mint
kinda
in
guy.
right now.
Yeah.
I got Cool Mint in right now. You might find cinnamon or wintergreen in my bag every once in a while, but I'm on the Cool Mint train right now.
You got
No, I don't have any questions. I already know everything, so.
the only wedge consideration that I typically think about is just really turf conditions. For me, is it soft or is it firm? The 60 stays in the bag a little bit more when it's a little soggy, just in case, trying to preserve the life. But other than that, that's it for me for when it comes to wedges.
What kind of vinegar do I need to buy on my way home tonight?
Apple cider or white? What are we talking here?
White.
Plain white vinegar.
White.
Same thing you clean your drain with at home, right?
Apple cider vinegar, I think is what they put in that quick weight loss stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, so after I do the wedge thing, drink a glass of this now. Got it.
Yep. Guaranteed 10 pounds.
I could go down a whole rabbit hole in apple cider vinegar, but that's for another day.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Austin. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
and
it was great stuff.
Hope to have you on again soon.
Yeah, please, anytime. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yep, thanks for insight, Austin. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's pretty good stuff. Didn't think the rusty wedge was That's great.
So much just happened.
I may never buy another wedge again.
I'm excited for my wedges.
So I bought wedges every year for the last 5 years. So that means I have 5 times 5, but minus the 1 year.
You're good for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah. Let's not upload this episode for the wife to hear.
This is a conversation that doesn't get posted.
This is just, wow. I'm mind blown. That was great stuff. Great stuff.
We might have just freed up some money for guys, though, They're thinking they need new wedges. Maybe they can dedicate it towards a new driver or something else.
New driver or update their bag, or if they don't have a rangefinder, I highly recommend a rangefinder in your bag.
Don't go trying this white vinegar stuff on your driver.
Don't
No, recommend it.
Yeah, there goes your crown, right? Maybe they go down to Alabama in the shoulder months and get another extra week of golfing with a fun trip with saving $300-400 on wedges.
Rusty Clubs, you should have seen our recent trip to Florida at the beginning of January. We used ship sticks, and I don't know how my bag got wet somehow.
Soaked.
But we get to first day, we're playing there in the afternoon after you fly in, and I'm trying to put the head cover on the driver, and everything is just soaked, and the putter has rust everywhere. The wedges had rust on them just from 4 days of travel?
I think UPS put it out by the irrigation system and just sat all night.
Must have, because it was something else.
That happens more than you think. I was with some guys in the patio one night, and we won't name.
Oh, yeah.
It was an all-nighter.
Pappy, why are you smirking? Because in 10 minutes that sprinkler's coming on. No, it's not.
Yeah,
10 minutes later.
I still got to get home.
Oh, shit. You were right. Yeah, I'm right. I'm the one who said it. But, okay, going down the home stretch here of this episode, I think one quick thing, we were kind of talking about Ricky Fowler not being, this is my average GOAT portion of the show today, is Ricky Fowler not in the Masters like we talked about, but would you like to hear a couple average GOAT names that are going to the Masters this year? Just got their invites in the mail the last couple of weeks.
Let's hear him.
How about Jim Herman?
Wow. Did he have a victory last year?
No, he is the vice president of the Rotary Club down the street.
Yeah, that's true.
New chamber vice president.
Yeah, if there is a guy by that name on the Rotary, I apologize. It was just a stupid joke. How about a younger average GOAT, Mackenzie Hughes?
Wow.
Going to the Masters, going to the greatest tee time in the world to have, in my opinion.
Are these are invites?
They're invited and they're not amateurs. I would not include an amateur on this. I thought it would be unfair.
Yeah.
Strictly pros on something.
So they're
average
obviously
GOAT.
not top 50, right? So they're.
I don't know. I didn't read their credentials. I was just going down the list of, because like I said, I was doing some research about the Ricky Fowler thing, and I was seeing some of these names, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh man. Also around the world of golf, we wanted to talk about something here. Joel, you brought it up. Johnny Football.
Yeah,
Going to make the trek into professional golf. Says he can do it. What do you think about that?
Well, he says he's going to give himself a little bit of time, which is age 40. So he's 28 years old right now. So he's got 12 years, he says, he's going to give himself to make a professional tournament as a pro. Man, wouldn't we all like that amount of time to just go and play golf all day?
Yeah.
As average goats.
Well, he's got that Cleveland Brown money, right?
Is he still getting paid?
Still got some money lying around?
Yeah.
I mean, good for him if he can get it done. If not, he's going to have a great time
Still
banging
getting
balls
paid.
for 12 years, right? But I think he's got a tough go of it, tougher than he thinks, because Tony Romo claims to be like a really good golfer, right? And he still can't get the job done.
Yeah, he usually makes the trek and tries to do local qualifying for the U.S. Open. And
Yeah.
Well, Johnny's handicap is it shows that he's either a 0 or a 1. So I don't know how a 0 or a 1.
do you happen to know where he's playing?
I think Arizona somewhere.
Okay.
But I just don't, all these tour pros, their handicaps are in like the plus 4, plus 6 range, and he's coming in as
At real tracks. Yeah.
at a 0 or 1, and I just don't see how it works out. But it's kind of like shooting that good round as an average golfer, average goat, and your friend comes over and says, "Hey man, have you ever thought about going out on tour?" That's kind of the running joke of, "No, I've never thought about that."
Yeah, I mean, if you're not consistently breaking par every single round of golf you play, right? There's thoughts
Man,
should
if I-
never be in your mind.
you know these guys are having these talks at the patio, every patio's got to be called the 19th hole because it's a real original idea. But they're all sitting at these 19th holes and they're talking and they're, man, if I didn't have to work and I won the lottery, I could work out and I'd get a chef and eat healthy and I'd hit balls and I would play and I would do this and that and I would be on tour. And I know one guy, me, was the 5-year plan was always my joke. If I won the lottery, a 5-year plan. But, you bringing this up, Johnny Manziel, it's inspiring me. So I think I'm going to do the 12-year plan with him.
Yeah.
But mine's going to be the senior tour. I'm going to get ready for the senior tour and go out there with the great ones and try to win some money off of them.
I signed up for the U.S. Open qualifier.
Really? Yeah. And locally?
South Bend. Right?
You're doing South Bend. Very nice, very nice. May 10th?
Yep.
Monday, May 10th. Very exciting.
For real?
Yep.
That is awesome.
So.
Well, good luck.
You mean to caddy for you? Did we get a cart?
Yeah, so I don't think there's any mobular telephones that are allowed to be on the course. So I think that's against rules. But yeah, I like competitive golf. I don't play it but once or twice a year, and I just want to get back into the feel of those adrenaline flowing and hitting tough shots in tough situations. So,
who's like your top 3 for caddy candidates?
I got a list.
You got a list.
I should be number 1, but I'm probably not even on the top 3. But
there's a good list.
You have 5 wedges in your bag. You're not on the list.
I know his game.
There's about 3 people who I play with pretty regularly that know my game and I can feed off of pretty easily. So.
Nice. Well, good luck, and we're gonna want updates on that.
We'll have side bets too.
So here we go. We're about just over 2 months away from that qualifier. This is we just found out about this. This is very exciting stuff.
Breaking news here.
Yeah. I have some breaking news. What is that's our new background music. What's the game plan here? Do you have a plan in place of
preparation?
Yeah, what's your preparation? I want to have this done by this date. This is kind of my plan going along.
So I really have 2 things that I'm going to try and get ready for, and that's I need to pick out which driver I'm going to play because I have 2 drivers that I'm back and forth between right now.
And they are?
Mizuno ST200G and then a Sim.
Okay.
So
that's
different shafts in both.
We got to figure out the driver. Got it.
And then the new wedges I got coming, I got to get those dialed in.
And wedges.
And 3-wood is pretty much set.
The raw wedges that are going to be rusty or no?
3-wood. What about your putters? Your putter set too?
That's a tough one. Right now I'm playing a Ping Tine 3.
Okay.
With a stability shaft in it. So
I think we're gonna give this a couple weeks, let you figure some stuff out. We're gonna circle the wagons back to this and get an update on.
I just really need the range to be open in the next 3 weeks.
Sorry, that's not gonna happen.
So
no, it'll be soggy.
Can I bring a mat out and put a mat out there?
In your own balls. Don't hit towards the road because the nets won't be
Nets
up.
are down.
Sure. Yeah. You can just go play golf.
Yeah.
You can just play golf. Yeah. So you said you wanted to get back into the competitive run. What local tournaments do you said you usually play about 2? What ones locally do you normally play in that's more of the competitive vibe?
So I wouldn't even say they're locally. I would just say at the club at Uke.
Okay.
So
Club championship
and then member guest.
So that's the invitational?
Yep.
Okay.
So hometown stuff, not actual competitive.
No, not actual
sanctioned.
I got you. I didn't know if you tried to do like state amateur or state open.
I tried that a couple of times.
Those are. I mean, it's fun. I've never done it. Michael's done it a few times. I think the tough part about the state am is like it's the actual state am tournament. It's like a 4-day.
If you make the cut.
Yeah, if you make the cut, it's a 4-day thing, and I just can't donate that much time.
Right. Well, the U.S. Open is going to be quite some time, too.
Well, I think I'll do it.
Okay, because you're going to go to local qualifying.
Assuming he's not going to make it then.
National qualifying to the national championship. Torrey Pines, too. That's not like an hour away. You're going to have to fly out there. I'm excited, though. I'm rooting for you. We're going to track this.
The Indiana Amateur Qualifier, it's fun. They do that. I think the few times I played it was at White Hawk.
Okay.
And had a couple of good years. Putter didn't show up, but ball striking was solid. And then the last time I played, it was not so good. But
okay.
I actually, the only reason I bring that up is I played with a local guy. What was that kid's name? Jack Musgrave, I believe. Absolutely on fire. I think he ended up firing like a 65 or something. So here this guy's, I think he played college golf somewhere on the East Coast, but just firing at all pins, going low, and he's watching me fly balls everywhere. I mean, absolutely everywhere.
Did you break 90?
I believe I broke 90, but it was a solid back nine to get that done.
Rallied the troops. I like it. Well, I think we're gonna have to talk off air. I think maybe me and you should get like a side bet. You do the amateur qualifier, I'll do it. We'll see how we do in between. I mean, this is inspiring stuff. We'll try to talk him into it. I mean, he's gonna lap us a couple times, but yeah, maybe Indiana Amateur, Indiana Open qualifiers might have to be on the book, and everybody else can check in and tell us what tournaments they're trying to play in. I know around the area, just across the border, the Will Amateur is usually a really good event over at Balmoral Woods. Typically, where it's at. They do a Lake Porter here in the summer. That's usually a really good event too.
Yeah.
I know a couple guys that have played in that, so very interesting stuff. Next week's show, we're gonna have the wrap up and review of what is the Arnold Palmer Invitational. This episode's going a little bit longer than the normal one, but I think we had some really good stuff, especially with Austin on the phone and looking at our results from what we talked about last week. So I did have an Arnold Palmer story for you. Pappy's brash of greatness with Arnold Palmer. It's not the traditional Arnold Palmer story. We'll do it a different day, no problems. But we'll do the Arnold Palmer results. We'll do the preview for one of my favorite events of the year, the Players Championship, Sawgrass. You guys ever go down and play Sawgrass?
No. Have you?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Haven't
Awesome.
played it.
We booked it. We were down for a company meeting down there, and we booked to play it on the way back. And it was actually the day Tiger did a speech after the whole scandal. True story.
Really?
Yeah, we had to go through 5 checkpoints, and if we have time, we'll do that story. It was a pretty crazy story. And
I brushed shoulders with Tiger Woods. is what
we were in the pro shop, and he got escorted through the hallway, through the clubhouse to his vehicle waiting outside. And his mom, you think she's short, and in person, she's actually shorter. Wow. So they say the camera adds 10 pounds, except for me. There's like 20 cameras on me. But the camera takes off like 6 inches on her. She's a very, very short lady. But so, yeah, we'll go over the next, we'll do the Players Championship preview. Fantastic course. It's always exciting out there, always a good time. The Island Green, a lot of drama. And I just want to run this by you guys. For our little side segment, I'd like to talk about, it came out a couple weeks ago, the RNA and the USGA distance report. We kind of heard about that initially. Just real quick, what are your guys' thoughts behind what the USGA, I think, is wasting millions of dollars? They've already put over $2 million into the first report. They're doubling down. They're going back for more. I don't know what more information they need. What are your guys' thoughts on this? And maybe it's something, do you agree we can maybe touch upon next week?
We can touch upon it. You'll see maybe some more talk about it this week at the Bay Hill with Bryson attempting to drive, depending on the wind, that par 5 over the water. So they were talking that might speed the conversations and that timeline up for that distance, drawing back on that. So,
yeah, I didn't look into the report a whole lot. I just saw that they were going to cap the driver length. So I don't think the distance is the issue with the equipment and all that. I think people still have to show up to the golf course, So
yeah,
look at what Bryson did at Augusta last year when we were talking about him annihilating the golf course, and that golf course annihilated
barely
him.
made the cut. Yeah. And that was a soft Masters.
Very soft,
fast and firm, and
balls flying everywhere for him.
Yeah, so it could be, he might even play worse this April, who knows? But yeah, this whole thing with them, with the USGA and the RNA kind of joining forces is on this whole thing. And, one of the things kind of thrown out there is we'll do a local rule.
Yeah, every tournament.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to play the same rule. That's one of the cool things about golf. You play the same rules that they're playing on TV. You know what I mean? And we're playing the same, you have the opportunity to play in the same stadiums as them and stuff like that. So I think this is a bad idea, and I think it would be an interesting topic to kind of get in and kind of dive into as a group and be a good conversation.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to get some feedback between now and then on our Facebook page too, just to see what other guys are thinking about distance and stuff.
Makes you think about sending that check in this time of year to the USGA for your bag tag and free hat. Your obnoxious, ugly hat.
Golf magazine, Golf Digest subscription.
Yeah, Golf Digest subscription and all that. I mean, you're using my money for that. It's just head scratching. But, well, guys, I want to thanks. I had a good week. Any final thoughts or anything?
No, I think we got a lot touched on today. I know we did go a little bit longer than than normal or planned, but I think Austin had some great stuff there with what guys got to be thinking about with wedges, and I think maybe realizing that they probably last a little longer than what I think and most guys think. Life of a wedge, so.
Yeah, I think Northwest Indiana weather in the 50s today and the 50s to 60s the next 5 to 7 days. So saw some people out walking today. I'm not going to be out there, but
Well, Pappy will be, and he'll be busy, so.
Yeah. Just a word of thought here to all you golfers. Take it easy on your superintendents this time of year. You know, we're coming out of a winter, and we understand, but patience is key. Let us properly get the course ready, and don't be texting them about carts.
Yeah.
Don't text them about. I was on the phone with one of my superintendent buddies today. He's like, they were texting me at 7:50 this morning about carts. Like, the ground's not even thawed.
Horrible idea about carts. It's so soggy.
Yeah, just maybe you don't have to play 18. Just walk a 9.
Yeah.
But get the fix in and get out there, golf, swing it, and walk for once is not a bad idea.
Yep.
I agree. Well, thanks, guys. This was
Thanks,
a lot of
everyone.
fun.
Thank you.
See you next
Everybody
week.
have a great week.